الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والصحابة الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. نويت التعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير بالنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله جل جلاله ونواله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ودعا إلى الهدى والدلالة الخير ابتغاء وجهه وقربه ومرضاته وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. All praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator and sustainer, who has given me and you the ability to congregate and learn the sacred deen as a means of gaining proximity to Him as a means and forms for our salvation in the hereafter. We come to the part of establishing the prayer. Before we go into that, just a very, very quick and brief summary of last week's lesson. We covered the timings of the different timings that have been put down regarding Salah and how we determine the time of Salah and the preferred times of Salah. We also covered the disliked and prohibited times of Salah, and we went through the fiqh of Adhan, the sunnah of Adhan and the correct procedure of Adhan according to Hanafi Adhan. Can anyone tell me how to determine the time for Salat al-Fajr? What do you look for when you determine the time for Salat al-Fajr? And then the white string comes about on the horizon. Yes, what is the white string? What's the white string? When the white string comes about on the horizon, is it literally a string that you look at? Yes? No?
It's on the horizon. So
the white line on the horizon. Very good, mashallah. How about if someone wanted to pray Salat al-Maghrib? If someone wants to pray Salat al-Maghrib and they've prayed Salat al-Asr already, the sun has started to set but has not set yet, can they pray Salat al-Maghrib? No, why not? The sun needs to set first. It's not when the sun starts to set, it's when the sun has set, that's when Maghrib comes in. Very good question. If someone has not prayed Salat al-Asr and there's 5 minutes left to the time of Maghrib, what will be the position of their Salah? Of Salat al-Asr, do they pray then or not? They still pray it, yes? Good. Say if you've already prayed Salat al-Asr at its time and there's 10 minutes left to Salat al-Maghrib time. Are you allowed to pray? Say you want to make up any prayer, or if you want to do some nafil salah, not obligatory salah. Are you allowed to do that? No. Good, alhamdulillah. Say if someone has prayed Salat al-Dhuhr and they have some prayers to make up, are they allowed to make up prayers at that time once they've prayed Salat al-Dhuhr? Yes, you can make up prayers. Any prayers you've missed out and you need to make them up, you can pray them. Alhamdulillah. If someone says to you that this is the time of Zawwal, what does that mean? It's the time of Zawwal. What does that mean? What is Zawwal? Midday. Good. In the time of Zawwal, do we pray Salah? No. How many times in the day do we not pray Salah? 3 particular times. What are they? Come on, brothers, it's as if you've not prayed Salah before. Ajib. Which 3 times of the day do you not pray Salah? Sunrise, Zawal, just before sunset. Very good, very good. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Now, I know you're all looking forward to the Mawlid that we're going to recite, inshallah, so let's quickly get on with the lesson. Yes? Yes. Now, just before we go into the lesson, quickly about adhan. Say I wanted to give adhan. Okay, I want to give adhan. And I don't have wudu. I've not done wudu. Am I allowed to give adhan? Can I give adhan? Yes. But what's the position? Is it disapproved of, or is it, what's the position? Will the adhan be accepted? If someone else is in wudu, it's better for them to do the adhan. Okay, to do adhan in the state of ritual impurity, meaning you've not actually made wudu, you're not ritually pure, then it's makruh, it's disapproved of. Okay, say if I gave the adhan facing towards Masjid Al-Aqsa, what's the position there? Think, if I was facing Masjid Al-Aqsa, not facing towards Makkah al-Mukarram, not facing the Qibla in Makkah, I was facing Masjid Al-Aqsa, totally opposite direction. Is the azan valid? Think. Probably not. Very clever answer. Probably not. Mohsin's asking how many sugars are. 2, please. Azan itself will be done, but it's makruh, okay? It's disapproved of. It becomes makruh with tahrimi, highly disapproved of, meaning close to haram if I've done it knowing that I'm facing the wrong direction. If I didn't know I was facing the wrong direction and I gave the adhan, and then after the adhan someone pointed out Qibla is that way, I don't have to repeat the adhan because the call to prayer has been done, but it's disapproved of, okay? Unknowingly given, adhan is done. But if knowingly I do it, then the superior position is to repeat the adhan facing the Qibla in Makkah al-Mukarram. Okay? So it's makruh tanzih, okay, disapproved of, to give the azan facing away from the Qibla unknowingly. Knowingly doing it is makruh tahrim, highly disapproved of, close to haram. Okay? Now, I want to give iqamah, and during the iqamah, I said, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Hayya ala salati, Hayya ala falah, Qad qamat as-salat, Qad qamat as-salat, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Iqamah will be accepted. Iqamah is done. Iqamah will be accepted. It's actually mustahab, recommended. Okay? Iqamah itself is actually mustahab to do using these words. The amount of times you do it, according to the Hanafis, you replicate the adhan itself. So you say Allahu Akbar 4 times, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah twice, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah twice, with the addition Qad qamat as-salah twice. Okay? Otherwise, even saying it once, iqamah is accepted. But then don't do it here like that. Okay? Whatever the superior position is of the ulama, of the scholars, the musalla that they follow, the school of thought they follow, stick by that. Okay? To avoid confusion and to avoid fitna. Okay? The fuqaha, the jurists of the deen have said it's actually a part of usul principle to stick by scrupulously what the imam follows. Okay, whoever the imam of the mosque is, whatever school of thought they follow, you stick by that. Unless the imam gives permission. It's okay for you to give iqamah according to the Shafi'i or the Malikis or the Hanbalis. Okay? Otherwise you stick to it, the musalla that is being led by the imam. Okay? The place of prayer, the musalla. And the Imam, whatever school of thought they follow, you stick by that. So now coming towards establishing the prayer itself, the preconditions and integrals. Okay, I'm just going to read through this list here and then we'll go into the details. Okay, then we'll go into the details inshallah. The preconditions of prayer, the physical and ritual purity, covering the aura in prayer, women's aura outside of prayer, prayer and uncovering the aura, facing the qibla, discerning the qibla direction, time of prayer, intention, components of intention, and takbir at-tahrim. Now, these are the preconditions and the integrals, meaning if any of these are missing, then salah cannot be established, and these are required for salah to be valid. Okay? So it's obligatory. It's actually fard, obligatory for an individual. Firstly, one cannot find anything with which to remove filth, prays with it, and does not repeat the salah. So the clothing that you're wearing, okay? If by removing that clothing, your aura, the parts that need to be covered, is revealed, then you will pray salah with that clothing on and you don't repeat it later on. Okay? But if you know you are able to remove that impurity from that part of the clothing, then you remove that impurity scrupulously. What is the distance that you need to go to find water to remove impurity from clothing? Come on, Kami Hanafi.
1 mile.
1 mile. 1 mile bare minimum. Okay, 1 mile bare minimum. From where you're standing, where the prayer is going to be established, 1 mile radius. That's the bare minimum. Maximum, you will travel 5 miles. Okay, 1 mile bare minimum. You look for the same ruling as you apply if there's no water. 1 mile radius, you look for water. Okay, maximum 5 miles. Okay, so you would have to be scrupulous in that matter to get water to remove that impurity. Okay, so you have to be in a state of purity in accordance to what has been mentioned previously in the previous lesson, meaning you have to be in a state of wudu. Wudu has to be there. Okay, you have to be in a state of purity. And then you need to cover your nakedness, your aura. For a man, it's that which is beneath the navel up to the knee. And the knee is part of the nakedness itself. Okay, from beneath the navel, so where the navel is, up until the knee. Cover the knee as well. Now up here, I will emphasize on something. Brothers who play football, okay, please. Make sure that the shorts that you wear in football, you cover yourself appropriately, because the action becomes haram otherwise. Okay, it becomes haram if your shorts are too short, if they are above your knees, then that action of yours is haram. You're performing haram. Okay, so be very scrupulous in that matter. Wear something underneath. Make sure your knee is covered. It's below your knee, not up until your knee. It's below your knee. Okay, so your thigh area up until your navel, where your belly button is. Okay, that needs to be covered. You are not allowed to reveal that part of your body. For men, you're not allowed to reveal that part of your body. The only condition that has been set in a circumstance, if it's a medical condition, okay, in those circumstances, if you're in hospital or you're having some operation done, or you're going through a process of medication and that part of the body needs to be revealed, then it's a different matter. Okay, otherwise we are not allowed. That is our aura of men, that is our aura. This is the Hanafi opinion. Okay, I'm not going to mention the Maliki opinion to you because I don't want you to know. Okay, I'll mention it because Gamran requested. According to the Maliki school of thought, your thighs up until your knees are not considered part of your nakedness. It's only where your private areas are. Only that area is considered your awra, your nakedness, according to the Maliki madhab. But we're Hanafis, aren't we? Seriously? You're Hanafis? Yes? So you keep that part of your body covered all the time. Okay? If you follow the Maliki school of thought, all of it, not just this particular ruling, then you would adopt that. Okay? But you don't follow the Maliki school of thought as far as, if anyone is a Maliki, please do point out if you're a Shafi'i or a Maliki or a Hanbali, then the ruling according to your school of thought will be explained to you, inshallah. Okay? But in the Hanafi madhab, for men, it's from your navel until your knee, below your knee. It all has to be covered. Okay? For sisters, for women, everything needs to be covered apart from your face and your hands. Okay? Apart from your face and your hands. They are left open in salah. And if your feet are left open, then there is Hanafi fuqaha who have said that it's not an issue. Okay? If your feet are left open for sisters. So when you're praying salah, your face has to be left open, your hands have to be left open, and if your feet are left open, it's not an issue. There's no ruling there that your feet have to be covered in salah according to the majority. We should say the majority, not one, but the majority, the Jamhur opinion, according to the Hanafis. Up here, I will mention one thing as well regarding sisters' awra. When you wear ihram, okay, when you put on the garments with the intention of performing umrah or hajj, okay, and you wear ihram, at that time your face has to be left open. Okay, at that time your face has to be left open. There have been some recent Hanafi fuqaha, Hanafi jurists, who have given the opinion that sisters are allowed to wear the cap, and then if she normally covers her face, if the sister normally, this is a habit of hers, that she covers her face, she wears the niqab. So in that instance, she's allowed to wear a cap, and then the veil would flow, so the veil is not actually touching her face. But this itself contradicts the leaving of the face open. It's not necessarily the ihram touching the face that's the problem, it's the covering of the face that's problematic in the state of ihram. Okay, so please keep that in mind. This is according to the Hanafis. In the Hanafis, okay, it's not necessarily the veil touching your face, it's the veil covering your face. Okay, in the state of ihram only. So please be wary of that. In ihram, sisters, you keep your face open and your hands open as if you are praying salah. One cannot obtain a garment. If you're not able to obtain a garment, you don't have any clothing to cover yourself, then in that state you still pray salah. You will still pray salah. Okay? But what you will do, you will start the salah, Allahu Akbar, standing up, and you sit down straight away. Okay? You sit down straight away. And the ruku, the bowing, and the prostration, the sajda, it's all done through gestures. Okay, so you're not moving your body about too much. But you will start the salah, stand, Allahu Akbar, sit down. Sit down straight away. That's in an instance if you don't have any clothing to cover yourself. And then we have the intention. The intent to salah, to enter into salah. Okay? With an intention which is not separated from forbidding the takbir with any action. Meaning, you know when you stand for salah, you're about to start salah now, and the Imam has said, Allahu Akbar. You don't start saying, you don't start doing the intention with the tongue then. La. You start as soon as the Imam says, Allahu Akbar, you start your salah. Your intention was already there, which is why you're standing there. Okay, the requirement of intention according to the Hanafi school of thought is that it has to be in the heart. That's the intention. Obviously the intention was there, which is why you're already there, standing, ready for prayer. To say it with your tongue is mustahab, recommended. Okay, saying the intention with the tongue is not part of the integrals of salah, okay? And it's not the precondition either. It's not shara'it or the ahkam. You understand? Brothers, do you understand this? So as soon as the Imam says Allahu Akbar, you start your salah straight away with the Imam. You don't wait. Okay? This should also be a note for those brothers and sisters who come to Salat al-Tarawih. And the Imam has already started. And you're sitting back. And you wait for the Imam to go into ruku, then you quickly stand and say Allahu Akbar. You've missed that. Because you purposefully neglected the Allahu Akbar takbir al-tahrima. You purposefully neglected that. Okay, you had no reason at all to miss the first opening takbir with the Imam. So you're not actually counted in the Jama'ah. You don't get the reward for praying in congregation then. Okay? If you delay the starting of your salah for any reason, you're not counted in the congregation. What reason do you think would be acceptable, but you don't start when the Imam starts with the first opening? When the Imam says Allahu Akbar. What reason can there be for you not to start with that? Think. If you come late, khalas. If you arrive late, or you're making wudu, okay?
Can I just check on that? So if you come late and you're already on sujood, sometimes you just wait for it to come back up. Is that still not recommended?
No, you start straight away. You start straight away. You don't wait for the Imam to stand up for the second rak'ah or anything, no. As soon as you come in and Jama'ah, the congregation has already started. Okay, you come in, you stand, Allahu Akbar, you start, and you go into the position that you're already in. You join the congregation. You don't wait. Okay? The understanding here is, say you arrive there and you die. Wouldn't you rather have death come upon you whilst you are in salah? So you start straight away. Okay? Another thing here, it's actually makruh at-tahrimi, highly disapproved of in the Hanafi school of thought, to run. You know when the congregation has started and you're late, you don't run. You don't run and join the salah starts. Allahu Akbar. You don't do that. Makruh at-tahrimi, highly disapproved of. Okay? The fuqaha here have said the fact that you had the intention to join the congregation, but you were delayed, then inshallah you'll get the reward for that intention itself. Okay? And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it, which means approach the prayer peacefully. Approach the prayer peacefully. Okay, so you don't run and make yourself go out of breath. Allah Akbar, start. You're actually supposed to be in a very tranquil state of mind when you start your prayer. Okay? Tranquil state of mind, and then Allah Akbar, you start your prayer. And then we have to face the Qibla. Unless, what reason would there be for you not to face the Qibla? Think. I want to sort of stir your understanding, which is why I'm asking you for your opinions. What reason would there be? You're praying, you're about to start your salah, but you're not able to face the Qibla. What reason can there be for you not facing the Qibla? You're traveling. What else? Yes, if you're traveling. If there was a genuine fear, okay, by you turning your face away from a particular direction, there's a fear there that you may be attacked, okay, or there's a fear there, a lion is going to come. I just remembered something about lions. You know, once our Ustad, mashallah, tabarakallah, he was a very humorous person, Allah bless him. One of the students in madrasa back in the day asked him, Hazrat, you know, when we're praying salah, and if a lion comes in front of you, what do you do? So, Ustad said to him, you know, I've been teaching you fiqh for 8 years now. You remember now, after 8 years, you don't know the masala yet? And he says, Hazrat, well, I'd rather you explain to me, you know, what is the masala, what's the rule in there if a lion comes in front of me? He says, well, if you're praying salah, and a lion comes in front of you, if your wudu still remains, carry on praying. So if say if there's a fear that a lion's going to come, or a snake's going to come, or a crocodile, or whatever, something's going to attack you, you're going to get, then in that instance you wouldn't. Okay. Otherwise, you determine where the qibla is and you pray facing the qibla. Okay. And we shouldn't be laxed or relaxed about facing the qibla either. Ayn qibla. You look for ayn qibla, to the point. Okay. In the Shafi'i madhab, it's even more strict. With the Hanafis, there's a sort of a leeway given. Okay, there's a leeway given that any 45 degrees towards the qibla you're facing, that's fine. But with the Shafi'i, you face ayn qibla, the center of the qibla itself. Okay, so you make sure you find out where the qibla is properly, and then you face the qibla. Okay, if the qibla is obscure and there is no one present, then there's no one present to ask. Then what you would do in that position is exercise your own judgment. Okay, exercise your own judgment. Who knows a way of determining the qibla if there's no one present? How do you find out where the qibla is? Come on, Gami. Huh? The sun. What about the sun? Speak up, please.
By looking at the shadow.
By looking at your shadow. Yes. But how exactly do you know? Where should the shadow be going?
So you have to face southeast. So to determine that the sun rises from the east and go down the west. So you can determine which way east is, and then we'll see southeast.
Excellent. You pray southeast, okay? So you find out where the sun rises from and where it's setting. You look at the sun and the position you can determine, okay? If you find out where the sun is setting, you put your right arm towards it. Put your right arm towards it. The way you are facing, that is qibla. Okay? That becomes southeast. You understand? There's another way. Using modern technology. So if you don't have a phone, there's a lot of these apps nowadays, and you can find out and follow the compass of this. I personally don't actually accept a lot of their positions that they give, but many people use them. But say if you don't have a phone, what would you do? Satellite dish. Very good. You know the buildings around us and the satellite dishes. You know the way that they're facing. They actually face towards qibla. I'm not saying they worship and stuff, but the way that's the direction of where the qibla is. Okay, satellite dishes. Okay? There are other ways that are slightly unorthodox, but they're not part of the Hanafi ruling to determine the qibla. But there are other ways that some Sufis, they do some strange things and they know where the qibla is. Now say if you find out where the qibla was, but you were mistaken. You find out later on. So you say, for example, you thought the qibla was there, okay? You prayed your salah, and then you find out later on qibla wasn't there, qibla was that way. Would you repeat the prayer? No. In that instance, you don't, because in that instance, when you did pray your salah, it wasn't with doubt. You prayed with certainty. Okay? Say if during the prayer itself, say if you're praying, now you're facing this way. Allahu Akbar, you started your salah. Okay? Now, the person next to you or someone around you says, oh bhai, oh brother, qibla's not that way, qibla's this way. So what would you do? You turn. Okay, you don't answer them, say, Jazakallah, bro. You don't answer them, you just turn. Okay? And then again, they say to you again, oh, qibla's not this way, qibla's that way there. So you turn again. Okay? And then they say to you, no, qibla's not that way, qibla's this way here. So you turn again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the ways you've definitely prayed towards the qibla. After that, you don't turn again. So the fourth time you've turned in salah, after that you don't turn again. Okay? After that, you don't turn again. Now,
Who's not question?
Bismillah.
How about if you don't know where the Qibla is and you just pray and you turn 4 times?
No, in that instance, you wouldn't turn 4 times. You know the way you were facing when you started to Salah, you carry on praying that way. Okay? So if you don't know where the Qibla is, so you followed your position, okay, and you prayed in a certain direction. So in that instance, you pray the full prayer, the full Salah, facing that direction. Okay? Very good question.
Coming back to the previous one, so say you see someone facing the wrong direction, should you tell them?
Yes. It should be pointed out. Okay? Even if they're praying. So what the superior position is that you use as less words as possible and you point out to them. You're facing the wrong way, Qibla is behind you. Qibla is towards your right, or Qibla is towards your left. Okay?
Like say if you don't want to use words, say because you don't want to disrupt their salah, you like to physically turn.
You would be, but that's the lesser position. Okay? Because what often happens is, say if you are praying Salah and someone touches you, what happens? They can get scared, or you may break the Salah, and they'll what are you doing, bro? I'm praying. You know, it happens. You're praying Salah, someone to astaghfirullah, bro, you just broken my Salah, what are you doing? Okay? But if you think that you are able to make the move in that way by touching them, touching the shoulders and directing them, and inshallah you won't break the Salah, then by all means do it. But the first ruling is that you actually do it verbally, so they understand what's actually happening. Okay? Does that make sense? Sisters, and questions? Okay. If there are any questions you remember later on, by all means do bring them forward, inshallah. Okay? Now, mashallah, I didn't know that was done. Mashallah. So, now the essentials of Salah, there's 6 of them. Okay, the 6 essentials of Salah. According to some Hanafi fuqaha, some Hanafi jurists, there's not 6, there's 7. Okay? According to some, there's 7, and some have said 5. Okay? But we will go for 6, and inshallah we will cover all of them. Takbir al-Tahrima, the beginning, we've said is a prerequisite. Okay? But we also put it down as an essential of Salah as well. Okay? The difference that has come about in the Hanafis, some of the Hanafi fuqaha jurists have said that saying Allahu Akbar at the beginning of your Salah is outside of the Salah. Others have said no, it's in the Salah. That's where the difference has come about. But there is no difference of opinion. Logically, it would make sense to say you can't start Salah without saying Allahu Akbar. Okay, you can't start Salah without saying Allahu Akbar. So Takbir al-Tahrima, okay, the forbidden Takbir. If one says in the place of Allahu Akbar, if they say Allahu Ajal, or Allahu A'zam, or Ar-Rahman, okay, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Yusuf, okay, Imam Muhammad Abu Yusuf, Imam Muhammad and Imam Abu Yusuf, it's actually sufficient. They say it's sufficient, okay, but you don't purposefully say anything else apart from Allahu Akbar. You would only use Allah Rahman, or Allah Ajal, or a different ism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, different name related to one of his attributes instead of Allahu Akbar, in a time where your tongue, physically, you're not able to say Akbar for any medical condition, okay? If there's any reason you're not able to say Akbar, and you find it easy to say Allahu Rahman, so you start your salah saying Allahu Rahman, okay? The condition is that Allah, Ism Jalla Jalaluhu is said. Allah. Okay? But Allahu Akbar, apart from that, if you have no other reason, you don't have any other reason to say Allahu Rahman, Allahu Ajal, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, then you don't say anything else, you stick to Allahu Akbar. Okay? It's the same ruling when you're doing the tasbih, the recitation in the prostration or the bowing, you're not able to physically with your tongue say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. You're not able to say Azim. Say Subhana Rabbiyal Kareem, Subhana Rabbiyal Rahim. Okay? Otherwise, no, you say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. Okay? If you're not able to say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, okay, then Subhana Rabbiyal Akbar, Subhana Rabbiyal Rahim. Okay, you add on another attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, you stick to the ones that the Messenger himself used. Okay, Allahu Akbar, Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana Rabbil A'la. These tasbihat, these recitations. Okay, now after that, the standing. The standing is a fard in salah. Okay, it's an essential. The standing. So we have takbir al-tahrima. Okay, then we have the qiyam. Qiyam is the standing. To stand in salah, okay, this is essential. Unless you're doing a non-obligatory prayer. If you're performing a nafil salah, then you're allowed to pray it sitting down. Or if you have any other medical condition, okay, then you would pray sitting down. Apart from that, the standing is fard. The standing is fard. Now in the Hanafis, the placing of the hands, we'll just briefly go over this for our understanding. The placing of the hands, Imam Shafi'u Qarwi, rahmatullahi ta'ala, who compiled a very well-known text called Namaz Kitab, written in Urdu, which is widely used in the Asian subcontinent by the Hanafis, okay, in the madrasas in particular. In there, he pointed out very specifically how to tie the hands, and he wrote Kari Dara, like a watch. And then he's drawn an example. And the example he gave was, you know, the small finger of the right hand and the thumb of the right hand. They're linked together around the wrist of the left hand. So the three fingers are on top, and you let the left hand loose. Okay? This is what he has written. Okay? If someone's hand is slightly like this or like this, that's sufficient. That's fine. Okay, like this, or like this. So you're holding onto the wrist. Okay, now the position, you know where the navel is, the navel. You just hand it below the navel, slightly below the navel. Not over the navel, meaning on top. Okay, so just slightly below the navel. So if your hand is touching the navel itself, okay, if your hand is touching, my navel is here, if your hand is touching the navel itself, this is fine. Okay, or if you're praying like this, according to the Hanafis, okay? Sisters on the chest, okay? On your chest, your left hand at the bottom, on your right on top, okay? Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that? This is according to the Hanafi position. The Shawafi, according to Imam Shafi, is higher, it's here, okay? Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal is of the same opinion that it's between the chest and the stomach. Like this, okay, but Hanafis like this. Or if your hands are tangling loose and they're like this is fine as well. This is fine as well. There's no issue with that. The whole understanding is that you tie your hands up in such a way that you're not fidgeting about and moving them about. They're secure. Okay? So the standings, Allahu Akbar, Takbir Tahrima, then Qiyam, the standing. The third essential of salah is the recitation, the qirat. Now, the minimum recitation, which is sufficient in salah according to Imam Abu Hanifa, is that which is covered by the word Quran. Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad say this means no less than 3 short verses or 1 long verse. Okay? 3 short verses or 1 long verse. 3 short verses would be what? Surah Kawthar. Okay. 1 long verse. Ayatul Kursi. Okay. So if you recite Surah Kawthar and Ayatul Kursi, so Ayatul Kursi will be in the first rak'ah. Surah Kawthar will be in the second. You recite the Quran in the tartib, in the way that it has been laid out, in that order. Okay, in that order. Okay, and it's preferred, it's actually preferred that you have a slightly longer recitation at the beginning, in the first rak'ah, slightly shorter in the second rak'ah. But if your second rak'ah recitation exceeds the first one, there's no problem there. Okay, it's not a problem. So you can say, for example, you start in Salah and you recite Surah Fatiha, straight after Surah Fatiha, Al-Dhalin, Ameen. If you are starting a new surah, then Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay? Inna a'tayna kal-kawthar. Okay? If you are starting from the middle of a surah anywhere, then you don't recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim because you've already recited Ta'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of your salah. Okay? You could do Yasin, Wal Quran al Hakim, Innaka lamin al Mursaleen, Allahu Akbar, going to 3 short verses. Okay? So 1 long verse or 3 short verses, that's the minimum requirement. Recitation is obligatory in the first 2 rak'ah of the Fard prayer, first 2 units of the obligatory prayer, but one has the choice in the last 2. If one wishes, you can recite. And if one wishes, you can make tasbih. If one wishes, you can remain silent. Recitation is obligatory in every rak'ah of nafil, okay? In witr, sunnah prayers, in every rak'ah, Quran recitation is obligatory. In the fard prayer, in the first 2 rak'ah, it is obligatory. In the 3rd and the 4th, if you so wish, after Surah Fatiha, you can go straight into ruku. You can remain silent and go into ruku. Okay? Does everyone understand that? So if someone does recite the Quran, it does not invalidate their prayer. Your salah is not invalidated. Okay? So after the qirat, the fard after that is the ruku. The ruku, the bowing position. Okay? In the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ, bow down with those who bow down in prayer. Okay? In fiqh terminology, in juristic, linguistic terms, bowing down would be this. If someone bows down, this is enough. This is enough. But the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam bow down completely. Okay? You bow down completely. Your hands go over your knees, not on your leg over here, not on your thighs, not on your sides, over your knees. Your hands grasp your knees. You make your hands straight. Your hands don't shake your body like this. Okay, can you see that? You don't pray like this. Okay, your hands are straight. You press down on your knees and you try to keep your back as straight as possible. Your head is in level with your back. Your head isn't thrown around like this. It's like this. So you're gazing downwards, but your head is straight. So your head and your back is completely straight. Okay? So your arms are straight. Your legs are straight. If it's painful, get used to it. You understand? Get used to it. Perfect your prayer.
You don't grip the knee.
Not grip, grasp. Okay? The difference between grasp, holding, gripping, squeezing. You don't squeeze. You don't grip your knees. You grasp your knees. If you start grasping your knees, you're going to feel pain. Okay? So you actually use your knees as a support and you keep your arms straight. Okay? So from this to this. Okay? The bowing, that is fard. After that, question? Do you have a question? Bismillah. Your knees should be straight. Your legs have to be straight, okay? You don't bend your knees. You keep your leg extremely straight. Okay? After that, the fard, the standing up that we have after the ruku, that's not fard. You know when we say Sami Allahu liman hamida, that's not fard. Okay? The fard after that is the sajda. So you do have to stand up. We don't say because it's not fard, we're not going to do it. You do have to do it because it's wajib. It may not be fard, it is wajib. When the Imam says Sami Allahu liman hamida, Allah hears those who praise Him. The Imam doesn't say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. The muqtadi, we praying behind the Imam, we say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Minimum. Okay? Rabbana lakal hamd, lakal hamd, Rabbana lakal hamd, minimum. Rabbana wa lakal hamd, this is sufficient as well. Okay? You can add on if you want to, but they have to be words that are in line with the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Hamdan shukran kathiran mubarakan tayyibatan fi. If so you want to. Okay? The fard after that is the sajda. The sajda. Now, who wants to volunteer from the brothers to show us how to do sajda? Yes. Bro, first time you're not smiling at me. What's going on? Bro, smile, bro. Who's volunteering to do sajda? Bismillah. Good lad.
Whether we're facing that way? I know.
Yes. Okay. Now, he's just got up from ruku. Okay, so you just got up from ruku. Sami Allahu liman hamda rabbana. Now he's going into sajda. Okay, stop. His knees touch the ground first. Okay, knees first. Stop, and then his hands. Knees first, and then hands. And then it was his nose, and then forehead. Knees, hands, nose, forehead. Knees, hands, nose, forehead. Okay? Knees, hands, nose, forehead. Make it a little poem. Okay? And your sajda will be perfect, inshallah. You don't go into sajda with your hands first and then your knees, unless you have a genuine backache, some medical condition. Otherwise, you do your sajda, your prostration, modestly. Okay? Your feet, you know your toes, you press them into the ground. You press your toes into the ground. Your arms are lifted off the ground. Your arms are not on the ground like this. Okay? Your sajda is not like this with your arms are up. There should be enough space for a cat to go through. Between your head and your thighs, there should be enough space for a cat to go through. Okay, so you're arched slightly. Okay, so your lower back, that end is up. You understand? That is what we call a sajda. Your head is in between your hands. Okay, not so far wide like this, and not so close that you mark your head. If your hands are below your head here, that's fine as well, that's sufficient. Sajda will be accepted. But the Hanafi position is better for you to have your hands in line with your head. Okay? Your fingers are kept loose. You don't put your fingers together and you don't spread them out. You keep them loose, keep them normal. Okay? So it's a very relaxed sajda. Knees, hands, nose, forehead. Okay? Feet into the ground. Feet into the ground. At least, you know your toe of your 2 feet, it's obligatory fard for the 2 toes to be pressed into the ground. Unless, again, you have a medical condition, you have something on your feet, on your toes, that is painful for you to press your toes into the ground, so then you would keep them normal, but you do not lift your feet off the ground when you're in sajda. You do not lift your feet off the ground when you're in sajda. Okay? So that's fard. Sajda is fard. We'll come to sitting. Qaidatul ukhra. Okay? Qaidatul ukhra. The final sitting. So you know after 2 rakats, say if you bring 3 rakats or 4 rakats, after 2 rakats, you have a sitting and you pray the shahood, at-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibat. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And you stand up and you start the third rak'ah. That first sitting that you've done, that's not fard, that's sunnah. Okay? The last sitting that you do, that is fard. Okay? That is fard. Now the addition that has been made is khuruj bismillah.
Is the second sitting sunnah or the wajib in the fourth rak'ah?
The second sitting? Yani the last sitting you mean just before you do salam?
No, second, first sitting.
The first sitting is sunnah sunnatul muqtada.
So if you miss them, would you have to suggest over?
Yes, sunnatul muqtada. But it's not fard. So if you do sajda sof, then that will cover it. But if you miss the second sitting, then not even sajda sof would be sufficient. You would have to repeat the prayer. Okay? Does everyone understand that? Yes? Now the addition of the fard, essentials of salah, according to some Hanafi fuqaha, and this makes a lot of sense, is the khuruj bisna'ihi, meaning exiting the salah. Okay? When you say salam. So once you finish your dua, and you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum. The first salam, once you've turned your head away from the qibla, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The moment you've said that, your salah has been exited. Okay? That is fard. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay? Sunnatul muqtada, to do 2 salams, but it's fard to do 1 salam. And when you do salam, it's not, you don't rub your chin across your chest. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. La. You keep your head normal, relaxed. Okay? You're gazing towards your lap. You're sitting. So you turn your head. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Khalas. Very easy, undramatized salam. Okay? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. It's not, as you may see some brothers do it, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You don't make your head dance either. You don't do that. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're literally saying salams to creations of God. Okay? 3 individuals in particular. The first, the Imam. You say salam to the Imam, Assalamu alaikum. Then you make the intention, the angel sitting on my right shoulder, saying salam. And then to everyone sitting on my right hand side. Say if you're praying alone, then the intention would be to all of the beings on the right hand side of the world. And then again to the Imam, the angel, and then everyone on the left. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay? And there should not be a long pause in between the 2 salams either. And the salams themselves should not be very, very elongated either. Okay? It shouldn't be Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. By the time brother finished doing that, Fajr is over. Maghrib's gone, Isha's opposite. You see, it shouldn't be a long, elongated sung salam, because that's not what we're doing. Okay? Fiqh has these rulings to ensure that you're in line with the sunnah of the Prophet. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't start doing things just to sound good for people. We stick to the sunnah of the Messenger to make our prayer authentic, inshallah. Okay, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he would give the salam, it would be loud, forceful, but abrupt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Khalas. Prayer finished. Okay, so these were the fara'id of salah. Coming to the prayer of assistance. The differences between the brothers and the sisters' prayer, firstly, in the placing of the hands and the lifting of the hands at the start of the salah. Okay, brothers, you lift your hands up until your ears, Allah. Okay, up until. It's not a requirement for you to touch your ears and say Allahu Akbar or Allahu Akbar like this either. Okay? Up to your ears, Allahu Akbar. Sisters, it's permissible for you to lift your hands up until your shoulders. Okay? So you would lift your hands up until your shoulders, Allahu Akbar, and then you start your prayer. Left hand at the bottom, right hand on top. When you do your ruku, it's okay if you don't bend down completely until your back is straight. If your back is slightly arched, then that's fine as well for sisters. Okay? And when sisters go into sajda, they will sit first. Okay? They will sit first and then do the sajda, and their arms will be kept close to you. Okay? Your arms will be kept close to you towards the ground. Okay? Could we have one of the sisters just at the far back there demonstrating the rest of the sisters watching? Okay, so she's going into sajda now. So she will sit first. Okay, and then the sajda will be done. So our hands, nose, and forehead. You see? Perfect sajda, mashallah. So that's the difference. And then when sisters sit as well, brothers, when you sit, it's recommended that your right foot is upwards and your left foot is downwards like this, and so you're resting on your left foot, on the side of the foot. If you're not able to do this, then you sit in a comfortable position, okay? But you don't rest your thighs on the floor and sit sideways, you sit up straight like this. Okay, does that make sense? And if you're not sitting like this, where your feet are not like this, it doesn't make a difference to your prayer. Okay, the requirement is that you sit. But you sit with your thighs straight and your legs below your thighs. So you're sitting like this. Okay? Sisters, you would sit slightly towards the side. Okay? So your right leg would be towards your right and your left leg underneath it. So you're sitting and with your legs bent like this. Okay? You know how Siddhi is sitting here? That's how the sister sits in Salah. Very relaxed position. Okay? Lifting of the finger in the Salah. Bismillah, you had a question?
You know, when you sit down and the tip of the toes that don't touch the floor, is your namaz not accepted?
If you purposefully lift your toes off the ground in sajda, then your salah is broken. Your feet are not actually supposed to move from the position of where you're standing. If you purposefully do that. But if it happens out of movement, unintentional, then that's fine. But if you knowingly lift your feet up, knowingly, purposefully, and you don't think anything of it, salah is actually broken. Okay? Salah will be broken in that position. Bismillah. Yes. So the position of the feet when you're standing, position? No, you keep your feet normally. When you're standing, then you would stand as you normally would. You wouldn't purposefully press your toes into the ground. The pressing of the toes in the ground is only when you're in sajda. Okay, to make sure that the feet are firm in the ground. Okay, otherwise when you're standing, you stand normally. Okay, we'll inshallah cover the finger movement, and then we'll go into detail regarding should your feet be touching other people's feet in salah. Okay, should you be praying like that with your legs far and wide? Okay, now the movement of the finger in salah when we do the shahood. Okay. التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. If you so want to, you can now lift your finger. So you're sitting, yeah, and your hands are just above your knees. You're relaxed. You're sitting. If you so want, you can now lift your finger. Ashhadu an la ilaha, but then you put it down. Illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Okay, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. You can leave your hand like this. After that, that's fine. Or you could put your fingers back slowly, that's fine as well. It makes no difference. Okay? The fuqaha have not mentioned this in any of the prerequisites or the requirements of salah. According to Mujaddid al-Fithani, Shaykh Ahmad Sirhindi Faruqi rahimahullah ta'ala, in his fiqh text, he writes that we don't do the lifting of the finger in the first sitting, we only do it in the second sitting. Okay? So this is a position that has been adopted by the fuqaha, that if you so want to, you do. If you don't do it, it makes no difference to the salah. Okay? It makes no difference to the salah in the Hanafis. Now, in the Shawafi, according to the Shafi school of thought, it's actually a sunnah. They say it's sunnah. And it's not only lifting ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, it's you lift it and you carry on moving the finger until you finish the salah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan rasulullah. Okay? Now you will see some Malikis who they will say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan rasulullah, and the finger stays. You may even see some Shafi'is do that as well. Okay? But whether you keep it up or you put it down again or you move it like this, keep moving it, in the Maliki, in the Shafi'i, they say this is all sunnah. Movement is sunnah, ghair muqida, keeping it straight is muqida, but it's all sunnah. Okay? Mandub. Karo to khair hai, nahi karo to gunah nahi hai. According to the Hanafi school of thought, we don't say that because the person didn't lift their finger. I once heard someone say that, please pardon me for saying this, but this is someone's understanding, and we shouldn't be of this understanding, okay? That lifting of the finger and leaving the hand like this shows your authority. What's this got to do with your? What's it got to do with what madhab or what manhaj anyone's upon? Show me where in the fiqh of salah it has been written that your finger will determine whether you're Sunni or not. It's problematic when we start falling into these sort of matters and understandings. Okay? Mujaddid al-Fithani rahimahullah ta'ala, Shaykh Ahmad Faruqi Sirhindi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill his grave with light, raise his ranks and make his benefit from him. He gives an excellent understanding that at the end of your salah, when you say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, hamare nazdeek ye durust hai. This is sufficient and according to our understanding, meaning the Hanafis. Okay? This doesn't determine whether you're a Sunni or not. It's got nothing to do with that. We're talking about fiqh here, it's not much of aqidah. Okay? Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that? Moving of the finger? Okay. Now, the feet. You may come across some brothers when you're praying in Jama'ah that, who wants to volunteer? Can I have 2 volunteers, please? 2 brothers volunteer. Bismillah. Bismillah. You are. Okay. Now say for example you're in Jama'ah. Okay? So you stand as you were praying Salah in Jama'ah. You face the crowd so they can see. Okay? Now when the Imam says, make sure the line is straight, no space is left in between, stand close to one another. Okay? So you stand in the line. Now, the brother in the middle, you stop spreading the feet, yeah, stop doing that. Now the 2 on the side, yeah, what would you do? You carry on. Now you move again. Now you carry on. Now you move again. Now you carry on. You see what happens? What is that? The Prophet ﷺ said, example out here, stand close to one another. Okay, can one of you still stay, please? One of you still stay. When the Prophet ﷺ said, stand close to one another, this is what he meant. We're close to one another. Our shoulders are touching. Okay? This is standing close to one another. Okay? Shoulder to shoulder, not feet to feet.
Because you're praying salah. You're about to pray salah. You're not going to relieve yourself. You understand? Like this. Minimum, it has been said, try to keep a healthy space between your 2 feet. Okay? If you bring them too close together, you'll be uncomfortable. And if you try to move them away from the normal line of your shoulder, you'll make other people uncomfortable. Okay? And this, according to some Hanafi fuqaha, will invalidate the salah. Okay? Yes. And it shows what? Salah is supposed to humble you. Salah is supposed to make you a humble person. Okay? Humility. So you stand and you pray. You don't. You understand? Feet to feet is not standing close to one another. Natural inclination of a human being is when you stand next to them, your feet are where they are in the normal human position. It's your shoulder that's next to them, which makes you stand next to them. Okay? You know when you're standing in a normal line, if you're told to stand next to one another, you're not going to go like this, are you? I have to stand next to you, my feet are so close. And then it's a bit crusty, do you know what I mean? It's a bit dry. You understand?
Is there any narration there?
No, the sad thing is, there's no mu'tabar or mutawatir narration to say that the Sahaba stood with their feet next to one another. All the narrations you look at regarding Salah, you will see that the companions stood next to one another and they made sure that they were shoulder to shoulder. Okay? They were shoulder to shoulder, not feet next to feet. Across all madhab. Across all the madhab. In the Shafi'i, in the Malikis, in the Hanbalis. Okay?
Should you have your feet like straight instead of that?
No. Keep your feet normal. Okay? Keep your, you know what your normal position of your feet is. Keep them there. So if your feet are slightly bent, it doesn't matter. If your feet naturally, if they're slightly bent, it doesn't matter. If your feet are very wide apart naturally, it doesn't matter. Okay? You stand normal. You don't actually go out of your way to make sure your toes are facing towards the Qibla. Okay? Or you don't go out of it because they're really in an uncomfortable position. You're not standing normally. You're not standing naturally. You stand naturally. Okay? Absolutely natural. You're supposed to be, as we mentioned earlier, in a tranquil state in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tranquility and peace comes about when you're your most naturalist. You're not worrying about unnecessary things. Okay? Does that make sense? If someone says to you that standing in Jama'ah, your toes have to touch one another, please ask them, where do you get this from? Where has this come from? And ask them to show you statements from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, which is where we get our fiqh from, which is where we get our jurisprudence from. Okay? All the rulings are from the time of the Messenger ﷺ. Hence, we are following the true Salaf. We are. So if you're a Hanafi, you're a true Salafi. If you're a Shafi'i, you're a true Salafi. If you're a Maliki, you're a true Salafi. If you're a Hanbali, then you're a true Salafi. Trying to surpass any of these 4 schools of thought, you can't be a true Salafi. You're actually an innovator, you're a bid'ati. You're a mubtadi, because you've made up your rules and regulations. Okay? So be very scrupulous and careful in regards to following a school of thought, because a school of thought is Quran and Sunnah. Okay? Now the obligations, the wajib of Salah. Do we have time to go through all of this? No? 9:15, okay. We'll give another 5 minutes inshallah, and then we'll do the Mawlid inshallah. The obligations of Salah is quite lengthy, and the description of Salah itself is quite lengthy. Then what's disliked in Salah, the nullifiers of Salah, Okay, prostration, inattentiveness, okay, and then prostration of recitation, we have to go through that, and then prayer in Jama'ah, its status, regulations of the follower, imamat, principal imamat, arrangements of roles. So all of this we have a lot to go through, inshallah. There's a lot to get through, inshallah. We will go through everything. Bismillah. Regarding the what, sir? Now, raising of the finger, Bismillah.
Am I observing the finger it's raised to still my sinus on my where I should be looking? Like when I raise the finger, do I look at the finger?
That doesn't matter, because you know when you're praying, when you're sitting down, you're supposed to be looking in your lap, not towards your prostration. Shawafi, are you Shafi, brother? Oh, you're Shafi. Subhanallah, you should have pointed out you're Shafi. In the Shafi'i position, then you look towards the sajda. Okay? And when you lift your finger and if your eye moves, your head doesn't need to move because it's all in one area. If your eye moves, it's not an issue. That's fine. But if you're Shawafi, if you follow the Shafi'i madhab, then you look straight at where the sajda is. The Hanafis, you look in your lap. Okay? You don't move your head and look in your lap. Keep your head straight, normal, and you gaze towards your lap. Okay? Shafi'i madhab, you look towards where the sajda is. From the moment you stand, from the moment you start the prayer, up until you complete the prayer, you look towards the place of sajda. Okay? In the Hanafis, when you start your prayer, then you look towards where you do sajda. When you're sitting, you look in your lap. Okay? In the Shafi'i madhab as well, when you start your prayer, then you wouldn't start as the Hanafis start. Okay? Hanafis, Allahu Akbar. Okay, Shafi'i, Tahiyya. In line with your shoulders, Allahu Akbar. Okay? If you do higher, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't invalidate the prayer. And then you would start your prayer, we would start, the Hanafis would start Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa tabarak ismuka wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruk. In the Shawafi, it's a different supplication. Yeah? وَجَهْدُ وَجْهِ الَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and so on and so forth. And in the Shawafi prayer, as we mentioned with the Hanafis, we keep our hands at the nables here, you would keep them slightly higher. Okay? Even if your hand goes up until your chest here, that's khair, that's fine, inshallah. Okay? If you, are you going to be here next week as well, inshallah? Okay, if you, Sidi Baqir, if you just remind me that we've got a Shafi'i brother, is there any Shafi'i sisters here? No? If you just remind me we've got a Shafi'i brother, then there's another pack that I've put together for Shafi'i fiqh. Okay, this is for the Hanafis. So, the other pack that I have for Shafi'is, inshallah, I'll pass that on to you. Huh? Was it what?
You can become a Hanafi.
You can become a Hanafi, yeah, go recruit him. He's a proper recruit. Okay, so we'll go through one or two of the wajibat of Salah. Recitation of Surah Fatiha in every rak'ah. This is wajib. Okay? Now the Hanafi recitation is when you're praying in Jama'ah, then you don't recite Surah Fatiha or the Quran. Whether it's jirhi or sirhi, meaning if it's a loud recitation salah or a quiet recitation salah. Okay? So whether it's Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib or Isha. If you're praying in Jama'ah, then the Imam's recitation is your recitation. Shafi'i, it's wajib for you to recite Surah Fatiha in every single one. Okay? Now the understanding, the difference came about here is Imam Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu, he said that if you were with a delegation of people and one of them is your representative and you go to speak to a person of authority, okay, your representative will do all the speaking for you. The rest of the delegation remains silent and they agree, they've chosen their leader, whatever the leader says, that's exactly what they say. So in Salah, the Imam is our representative in the court of Allah. So whatever the Imam is saying, Surah Fatiha, the Quran recitation, that is our saying, hence the Hanafis remain silent. The Imam Shafi'i says, because of the hadith of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, which is found in Al-Bukhari, in which means that Salah is not accepted where Fatiha is not recited. Okay, according to that hadith, Imam Shafi'i said, no, it's wajib for even the congregation to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, so once the Imam completes Surah Al-Fatiha, you would say Ameen loud. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. You would recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, does that make sense? Adding a surah or 3 verses in the first 2 rakats of Fard and in every rakat of Witr and Nafil, this is wajib. Okay, standing up after the ruku, this is wajib. Okay, linking the nose with the forehead for sujood. Okay, this is wajib. Okay, meaning the nose goes down first and then the forehead. You link them and then you look towards your nose. When you're in sajda, when you're in prostration, you look towards your nose. This is wajib. Okay? So in that effect, even your eyelids will be doing sajda. Even your eyelids will be prostrating before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And tranquility in each position. Meaning, you don't pray salah. The description that has been given in fiqh terminology is, you don't pray salah as if a chicken pecking on the ground. Okay? You don't Allah. That's not salah. Okay? Yeah, I'm sure you must have come across these little video clips that go around on WhatsApp, which is a mockery of salah. Okay? This is a great mockery of salah and it should not be taken lightly. Try to complete Salat al-Tarawih in 30 seconds or something. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala become that cheap? Has it become that irrelevant? This is your relationship with your Lord. This is your link with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It should be done in the most tranquil of states, which is why the Messenger of Allah salawatu rabbi wa salamu alayhi wa ala alihi said, an individual who does not perform his prostration and bowing with tranquility, laysa minna. He's not from my community. Not from my community. The Prophet ﷺ emphasized upon this. It's not from my community. And then the Prophet ﷺ said regarding the followers of the Imam, whosoever prays in a congregation but goes into prostration or the bowing position before the Imam, the head has fallen into the hand of shaitan. The head has fallen into the hand of shaitan. So the Imam hasn't even gone into ruku yet. And the Muqtadi already, this one takes too long. Let me do mine quickly. Your head has gone into the hand of shaitan because you've denied the congregation, the obligation of the congregation, which is what iqtadaytu bihadha al-imam. I am following this Imam. Okay? You've disrespected the leader of the prayer. The adab of the Imam, the one leading the prayer, is as such that if they make a mistake, you do the compensation for it as well. If the Imam makes a mistake in prayer, you do the compensation as well, the sajda itself. You do it as well. Okay? And even if you're a traveler and you're praying salah with jama'ah and the Imam is not traveler, is muqim, then you would pray the full prayer. You wouldn't pray the traveler's prayer either. Why? What's the reason? Adab of the Imam, respect of the Imam. The person who leads you in prayer, they are extremely important because, as Imam Abu Hanifa said, they are the ones who are standing in the court of Allah and speaking on your behalf. They speak on your behalf. So we shouldn't underestimate the individual who leads in the salah. He's the one who says, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. He's pleading to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on our behalf, all of us. The position of the Imam is extremely vital. Okay? So if you try to exceed the Imam in the bowing and the prostration, it's as if your head has fallen into the hand of shaitan. And we seek Allah's refuge in that. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barak sallam. Inshallah, we'll carry on with the wajibat of salah in next week's lesson. In the meantime, if you have any questions regarding what we've covered today, then if you write them on a piece of paper and leave them at the back, inshallah.
جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خيرا. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خيرا. جزا الله عنا سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأهله. جزا الله عنا سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خيرا. جزا الله عنا سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأهله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. The brothers who are going to be reciting the Mawlid, please come forward and recite some Mawlid for us, inshallah. So everyone said with the